Or something, whatever. If he hits Miller come forward and he hits him, and Miller, all that 400 pound momentum fall on him, he might get killed. Never know.
Sells the show out or not. I don't. But if Miller can take a shot, he's a problem. It's £300. I've been in the same changing rooms with him when I had Gav McDonald fighting out in Chicago. The man's massive. He's huge. And he puts his hands together quite fast and he puts a good output of punches out for a big man. So if he can take a shot, mate, he's a problem for heavyweight division. Now, if he can't take a shot, then he's in trouble. You know.
Get rid of him. You've got a serious problem.
Does that include the bigger guys like Anthony
It doesn't
Joshua?
matter. Ain't nobody weighing 300.
I got kicked in the head. Ain't nobody never hurt me while with me, so it ain't gonna do squat.
There you go. There you go. If you can't hit the man, then you don't understand how hard boxing is. When you can't hit someone and keep them off you, and they're that big. Like I said, that's the reason I was in the heavyweight game for a minute and I was gone.
He said a minute.
Well, literally 1 minute though. That's all it was. I was
Two minutes.
Well, you know, 2 fights, 2 minutes, whatever. But I was in and out quick. These guys are big dudes. You know what I'm saying? That they're massive, and I can't explain to you how hard it would be for someone like him. Yeah, it's all good for 2 or 3 rounds when you're moving and you're nice and quick. But after 2-3 rounds and he's still leaning on your ass and you hit him with the kitchen sink and he just won't stop. You're gonna fall apart. Trust me, you will see tomorrow. That's what my opinion will be.
Anthony Joshua versus Jarrell Miller has basically been announced in New York. I'm not entirely sure if it's actually been officially announced, but close enough. Before I say anything else, sorry if you can hear background noise. It's because I'm outside and there's other people and I have neighbours. Don't want to wake anyone up. So I'm recording this in my garden. So if you can hear wind, that's why. I am in the greenhouse, so maybe you won't. I don't know. I guess I'll listen to it back and find out. But let's talk about AJ versus Jarrell Miller. Now, who wanted this fight? What boxing fan thought, yeah, this is a really great fight that we all wanted to see? Who wanted to see this? Like, it's so obvious what's going to happen. Like, Dylan was joking about fucking that Jarrell Miller landed on him and him that knocking him out. But it could happen. It's the only way he could possibly win the fight, unless Anthony Joshua, I don't know, gets DQ'd or turns up with one hand. Then he might win. Like, it's ridiculous. I'd rather see him fight fucking Conor McGregor. Like, again, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's 300 pounds, that gives him an advantage that he's so big. It's like, no, there's a reason that boxers aren't 300 pounds. It's because that actually makes you worse. Like, he's gonna gas. He just isn't gonna beat Anthony Joshua. 5 or 6 rounds, it's gonna be a blowout. I mean, the actual card might be good. Eddie Hearn said he's going to put a lot of good fighters, got good fights on it. But that fight's going to be shit. It's obviously what's going to happen. Like, you can't... It's just ridiculous. It's like... Dillian White was the other option, which is a great fight. I think Anthony Joshua would win it. But it's exciting. The build-up would be good. But we're going to hear... The build-up, oh, everyone's saying, oh, he's this big talking American. Well, it actually just kind of sounds silly if you can't back it up, which you can't. So, it's like, it doesn't matter that he talks all this shit. No one cares, because everyone just thinks he's shit, because he is. Like, and it's just, the whole thing is just a joke, to be honest. Like, the deal that Dillian White got, apparently he was getting the same in the rematch clause as the original fight. It's like, oh, how does that work? How does that make any sense? And I heard Eddie Hearn say, oh, he doesn't know what his value is. He thinks his value is more than it is. Well, surely his value goes up if he's the world champion. He's got 4 belts. It's like, it really just takes away from your credibility, you saying that. What you should have said was, oh, and that was the deal Anthony Joshua really wanted. Because I actually believe Eddie Hearn when he talks about certain other fighters, shall we say, certain other Americans not wanting fights. That's obvious. That's obviously what's happening. But it really does ruin your credibility in the media if you're just saying bollocks. Because obviously, Dillian White's worth more in the rematch clause if he's the world champion. Like, that's just obvious. He's just like, does he not even deserve like a tiny bit more money? Maybe, but it's whatever. That we're not going to see that fight. I think, you know, by September he should be the mandatory. You know, with boxing corruption, he might not be, but one would assume that he will be. But anything can happen with corruption in boxing, so he might not be. We might never see that fight. Really, the fight I want to see is Wilder versus AJ. I think that would have been the fight to make, because I think Wilder's going to lose to Fury. So, from Wilder's perspective, this is the only real time that he can make that fight. So I don't understand why he's not taking that. He's just not going to beat Fury. Like, it's just so obvious. Like, you're not going to beat the person that beat arguably the greatest heavyweight boxer, at least of the modern era, maybe of all time. Maybe you could definitely make an argument that Vladimir Klitsch is the greatest boxer, heavyweight of all time. Maybe even the greatest boxer. There's an argument you could make for that. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily subscribe to that, but you could definitely make that argument. But now we're going to see him against some fat American that no one gives a fuck about. Like, who has he fought that's actually of note? No, I can't think of one person. I can't name a person he's fought. Can you? Can anyone name a person he's fought off the top of their head? Like, there are other fights out there. Ortiz. Why, he could have fought Luis Ortiz. Why not? Luis Ortiz has got, you know, I can only name the person that he lost to, but that was a close fight, and if he hadn't been given, if Wilder hadn't been given the extra minute, he probably would have lost the fight. So he could be a world champion. There's a case you can make that he's sort of a world champion that had his belt stolen from him. So that would have been a good fight to make. I guess Povetkin again, maybe. Does anyone really want to see Povetkin fight Joshua again? Not really, but it's still better than a Miller fight. It will still go longer. I mean, obviously, I think that there is... Obviously, it's somewhat of a money fight, but surely Ortiz is more of a money fight. Surely Ortiz's name brings more value to the table than Miller does. Like, just realistically, even if he's, you know, he's from Washington, he's from New York, but clearly Eddie Hearn disagrees, or DAZN disagrees, or whoever's pulling the strings here. Because I think a lot of the time in boxing, it's not the people you see pulling the strings. It's people that stay out on the sidelines that you don't get to see. So maybe DAZN is saying, "Oh, we want this," but it's like it's such a silly fight to make. Like, no one wanted this. No one, like, I'm pretty sure even Gerald Miller's mum doesn't think he can win this one. You know, I heard fucking Tony Bella fucking spooning Gerald Miller, but I think even Tony Bellew would agree that he can't beat AJ. Honestly, if he was being honest. But oh well. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it because I've got a DAZN subscription even. Only because of Bellator, to be honest. But it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. Who wanted this? Like, I can't name one person other than Gerald Miller who wanted this. Like, this is the worst fight. Like, if you look down the WBC rankings, or not WBC, the WBO rankings, look at everyone between Joshua and Miller, they would have all been better fights, which kind of makes sense. But he's not. I don't think he's even the best person to fight in the top 10. Like, it's just like people that are lower than him in the top 10. I think they're people you can make cases for that deserve it more than him. But oh well. I guess we're gonna see the fight. I'm probably gonna watch it anyway. Well, I'm definitely gonna watch it anyway. I'm probably gonna be more interested and less angry about it at the time, to be honest, once I've seen all the promotion and blah blah. But it just boxing is just, people wonder, well, boxing in America is not big. It's because of stuff like this. This is why the UFC is bigger than boxing in America, or it might not be bigger, but it's definitely growing more, and boxing isn't going to keep up. It's because you don't get to see the fights you want, and when you do get to see the fights you want, fucking corruption ruins the results, which we just saw it happen. We saw, I'm going to go two huge fights. Well, one of them's a huge fight. The other one's not so much of a huge fight. Canelo Triple G, the first one. Triple G obviously won that fight. He obviously won that fight. How can anyone see that as a draw? Like, it's just not a draw. Like, I guess if you looked at their faces afterwards, you wouldn't be able to tell who won. But it's just so shit. It's so obviously fucking just the judges either don't know what the fuck they're looking at, or there's corruption going on all the time in boxing. But that's not necessarily related to this. But I think it's worth bringing up that just this is just bollocks, and I think we're gonna hear a lot of people being angry about this, and not just about this one event, but just a lot of things have built up in boxing over the last few years that have always kind of been there. You know, there's always been bad promoters and fixed fights and blah blah, but we've really seen fixed fights becoming more prevalent, and we don't get to see the fights we want. Like, at least in the Don King era, the fights all happened, but fucking Wilder is 33 now. If he goes through another few big fights, another 2 or 3 big fights before Anthony Joshua, he's just not going to be the same. And I don't think he can win that fight now. So, but that's not related to Jarrell Miller versus Anthony Joshua. But I just think it's worth bringing up that this is just such a farce that they're fighting. Like, there's so many better options that he could be fighting. He could be fighting Fury. He could be fighting Wilder. He could be fighting Ortiz. He could be fighting Dillian White. But somehow they can't get a deal, and it doesn't really matter who you blame. The fact is that we don't get to see the fights we want because of promoters and because of fighters. It's just ridiculous. It's just like, why do the governing bodies allow this kind of stuff to happen? Like, why are the governing bodies not saying, "Hey, Anthony Joshua, no"? Like, I guess, you know, it's a voluntary blah blah, and he's not got any mandatories. But why? Why doesn't he have any mandatories? Like, I get, you know, he just had the fight with Povetkin, but still, the governing body should want a better fight than this. It's just ridiculous. And it just makes Wilder look even more smug. I mean, you're going to get to hear Wilder being smug after and before the fight about this, and I fucking hate Wilder. I think he's such a cunt. It's that I don't want to hear him be fucking smug. So, just that's the thing I'm most annoyed about it, is that I'm going to have to listen to Wilder being smug, and I think he's a massive bellend. So thanks, Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn. I'm going to have to listen to lots of Wilder being a smug cunt. So thanks for that.